Welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel, everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today, as usual. We're going to talk about XRP today, so I hope everyone is having a fantastic day wherever they are in the world. Additionally, I discussed XRP and Blackrock as well as Ripple and Blackrock in the previous two videos. This puts a stop to this conjecture. This provides all the information you require. Pay attention to Brad. This week, we spent $1, $25 billion to acquire Hidden Road, which is referred to as a prime broker. And this makes it possible for even bigger organizations like BlackRock, the largest financial institution on Wall Street, to enter this market in a way that makes sense to them. They have a larger balance sheet and a safer prime broker to assist clear transactions. That was a huge acquisition, as I mentioned. He discussed transactions, which is significant for XRP, and once more, Ripple and BlackRock are joining forces and paying attention. A sign of the times for cryptocurrency was the SEC's decision to dismiss its lawsuit against Nova Labs. The other day, I discussed this. They continue to dump case after case. While the Ripple v. SEC case is still pending, however, it demonstrates the direction the SEC is taking. I keep reading that the SEC will do everything in its power to impede Ripple from moving forward. All we need to do is wait for the commission to vote. The source of this is Blue Hawk Legend. Don't get your hopes up, he advises. Recall what everyone believed. We were going to have our hero in Gary Gensler. Subsequently, he proved to be the most crooked, biased, and corrupt individual we had ever encountered. With Paul Atkins, I don't think we'll witness the same thing. His focus is on advancing innovation. He is committed to enacting legislation for cryptocurrency so that it can advance in the US as well. There won't be another Gary Gensler, in my opinion. Let's hope that doesn't happen, anyway. And here's another segment of the video when Brad discusses President Trump's embrace of XRP and the purchase of Hidden Road. Is no longer even close to that. Although there has been a decline in the market, we believe we are at 86,000 and change. When do you think this will start to rise again? That's because there have been a lot of irrational predictions that Bitcoin will drop to about $250,000 by the end of this year. Yes, that makes sense. Larry Fink, your previous guest, discussed simply adopting a long-term perspective. Correct. Additionally, I hardly ever give it that kind of short-term thought. I consider the macro trends affecting the XRP ecosystem and the cryptocurrency sector. Over the past 90 days, XRP has been the top performing major cryptocurrency. What does that look like over the next 3 years is what we consider. I have a lot of hope. In other words, Ripple recently revealed our biggest acquisition indeed, one of the biggest in the history of the cryptocurrency market. We made the announcement on Tuesday during tariff week earlier this week. Palooza, we're betting on where the globe will be in 3 years rather than what will happen in the next 6 months. But I'm not exactly sure what will happen with the tariff. Would you have purchased that item? No hard, no a year ago. As you can see, the US SEC and even other Biden administration components were the targets of a concerted assault by numerous agencies. Now we're discovering that more is out. As you pointed out in your opening, the IRS had anti-crypto regulations that were illogical. Without having an equal offset to their balance sheet, banks were not even permitted to reasonably hold cryptocurrency, which basically makes no sense for a bank to even be involved in this sector. It is a legitimate industry. That is, the management wasn't paying attention to what customers had to say. The voters' voice and desires were not being heard. Now, there is a noticeable shift in all areas. Furthermore, such an acquisition makes a lot of sense now, but a year ago it would have made no sense at all. Therefore, this deal would not have occurred at all if we were going back a year. She also inquired as to when. Brad discussed the tariffs and said that this market will recover. In my opinion, the market will eventually adjust to tariffs and determine whether they are beneficial or detrimental. Despite future tariff discussions, I believe the market will remain steady. However, Brad was present concurrently with Larry Fink. I could just picture the exchange And March 2025 saw a very positive drop in US inflation to 2.4%. Although we are all aware that these figures are fictitious, they nevertheless demonstrate that the market ought to be beginning to recover. It's not, however, just yet. Additionally, the US Federal Reserve official states that, if necessary, it is prepared to assist in market stabilization. People immediately declared that they would print more money, but this might also result in lower interest rates. We were able to observe the Fed's future course. It appears that Trump is turning his focus away from the Fed and towards something else. And that's where I believe RLUSD from Ripple comes in. Regretfully, Doge, Solana, and XRP were unable to generate enough bullish momentum during the market's comeback. They are discussing how there is insufficient liquidity to drive these cryptocurrencies' prices higher, and this is what I believe transpired. After Donald Trump was elected president, we had a significant uptick. That was immediately incredibly positive for cryptocurrency because we now have a Congress that supports it, among other things. However, I believe that liquidity will return in a different form. I believe the approval of the ETFs will be the first step. Suddenly, that institutional capital will begin to pour into XRP. People will see that and want to get in before the price increases further, which will drive up the price even further. The institutional adoption followed. Additionally, we have crypto rules to anticipate. I believe that we are currently in a precarious situation where the storm will eventually pass. We're just not making any progress yet, but XRP still appears to be quite positive. To put it another way, we're waiting for a significant event or catalyst. Additionally, there is ISO. I am aware that some of you asked in the comment section when ISO will start. We therefore have important deadlines in 2025. CHAPS, UK mandates, LEEs, and payment purpose codes as of May 1. Fedwire US implements ISO 222 with a one-day cutover on July 14. That will offer us a clear picture of what these ISO cryptocurrencies will look like in the future. Then comes the big one in November. ENDSM, TPR plus CB and SWIFT coexistence. Cross-border payments must adhere to ISO 222. The future of payments lies in structured data. For XRP holders, Christmas will look very different this year. As soon as it begins to rise, XRP will continue to do so for months. Because there are so many different triggers along the route, it leads us towards Christmas. By November, we will have rules in place. Additionally, the conclusion of the Ripple v. ECC case will be held after the ETFs go online. After that, you begin to consider the outcome of this acquisition. Will that result in an even greater price for XRP? Additionally, if all of these catalysts occur at the same time, it will provide the ideal environment for XRP to become a three-digit asset before the end of this year. Many individuals I see are calling for it. They want a three-digit XRP even if nothing else occurs or if nothing at all occurs other than the old season. To make it happen, I believe we need these triggers. Each and every one of these must happen this year. In my view, that's how we arrive at a three-digit XRP. This is new to me. Eleanor Tourette provided it. Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts may face a midterm fight from John Deaton. He also attends roundtables on trade